ladies. Hi, ladies. Okay, so I hope you all are doing well. I know you haven't heard from me in a while, but I wanted to post something about the popular subject that's trending now, that's going around the world. Basically, what everyone is dubbing the slap heard around the world. I know some of you are tired of hearing about it. I'm one of those. However, as a Christian and a godly woman, I believe this is an excellent teachable moment. Jesus always made moments teachable. He always saw a lesson in them and taught from them. And I believe as Christians, one of our greatest challenges, and one thing that I believe that we should do is to see everything from a spiritual point of view or God's perspective. And so that's what I want to do today in this brief few moments that I'm going to share with you. So I'll do my best to not make this too long. But I think this is a great moment to share God's perspective on the situation with Jada and Will Smith. And so I know some of you are tired of hearing about it, like I said, but I know this a teachable moment. Also, some people will be saying, and they have already said, that I'm judging her or perhaps even him. And so, no, I'm not judging them. This a teachable moment. And so in order to teach to women who profess to be Christians, I have to talk about it. So that's what I want to do. So anyway, looking at the situation, I was very shocked what happened. I am also a quote unquote fan of Will Smith. My favorite role of his was when he was in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I really enjoyed that TV show long time ago. I don't get into a lot of worldly things. People have accused some of us, what are you doing watching the Oscars? I don't watch the Oscars. I just saw the clip on the internet. And so I like Will Smith. I like Chris Rock. He's also done some great things. I loved his TV show, Everybody Hates Chris. Loved it. The cast was just perfect for the show. So was the Fresh Prince. The first few years when it first aired, first 2 to 3 years before they got rid of Aunt Viv. The first Aunt Viv, that was my favorite. That she was so perfect for that show. I really wish she would have never been removed. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. So anyway, from the situation, I've been in a situation similar to that. I believe we all have been in situations similar to that. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Perfect Guy with Sanaa Lathan and Morris Chestnut. If any of you remember that movie, when she thought she found the perfect guy and he took her to visit her parents, and then on the way home, some guy, I believe, was flirting with her. And he came over to the car and he just gave the guy a serious beat down. And she was so angry, she broke up with him at that moment. And she just really refused to spend any more time with him. And so it kind of reminds me of that, of what happened just a little bit. Of course, Will Smith didn't go that far, but he was violent when he slapped Chris, supposedly to honor or defend Jada. And so, first of all, just in Chris Rock's defense, he basically made a statement. He did not physically touch her. And so the right response would not have been physical, because what he did was overkill. He should have basically spoke out and just said, man, you disrespected my wife. He could have said it out loud. It would have been best, I think, for him to say it behind closed doors. But he chose it that way. And so if he was going to lose it, that's the way he should have lost it. It was overkill. I know people thinking this is my opinion, but no, this is Jesus teaching instructions to us who profess to be Christians, that when someone hits us, we are to turn the other cheek. And so that's what Chris Rock did. And I don't know if he's a Christian or not. But Will Smith, from what I've heard, he professes to be a Christian. But Chris Rock, wow. I mean, I was so proud of him. I am so proud of him to handle that. He basically handled it perfectly. That was really awesome. And it was a good example for even those of us who profess to be Christians. Excuse me. So that was really great. Of Chris Rock. It took a huge man, great man, to do what he did. Anyone cannot do what he did. A lot of people have been saying, I heard a lot of men say, celebrity men on TV, on the internet say, that couldn't have been me. I would have hit him back, or, all kinds of crazy stuff would have happened. And so so it's like, so it took a big man, the bigger person is the one that doesn't respond the way that the person responded negatively. It takes a bigger person to do that. And so Chris Rock was the bigger person. And so, yeah, Will Smith is not perfect. I know people say, oh, no one's perfect. And that's the way I feel when I first saw it. I was like, oh, no one's perfect. I feel so sorry for him. And I still do. I have compassion because we all lose it. There's a time we could lose it. But unfortunately for him, it's like, it was the worst place. It was the wrong time and the wrong place, totally, to do that. This man worked all these years to try to win an Oscar. And the day that he does, the biggest night in his career, wow. That's the part that's so shocking. A lot of people just focusing on the slap. No, for him, not for Chris. For Chris, it was the slap. But he was humiliated too because he also has he's a movie producer and an actor. So they both were on the same playing field. So they both had a lot to lose. But what Will did, in an analogy for us, is us going on our job that we love and we worked hard to get for 10, 20, 30 years. And then to slap one of our coworkers in front of everybody or at all, that causes us to lose our job. That's what happened to Will. That's what happened to him. He humiliated himself. And so that would what would be happening to us. We would humiliate ourselves, embarrass ourselves, and people would lose respect for us if we wouldn't even lose respect for ourselves. Excuse me. So that's the part to me that's the travesty in all this. Poor Will, and then of course Chris, that's very humiliating for a grown man to slap another grown man. That's, you don't slap a man, don't slap a man. That's what women do, or men do to women. I'm not saying it's right. Please, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for a man to slap another man, that's like you're saying basically he's a woman. You're emasculating him. So anyway, I don't go deep into that part. But anyway, this is terrible. So Will, just like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, please don't tell me he did this to himself. And then at the Oscars, with a very high society, worldly, of course, it's worldly event, but it's like, that's the top of the crop for the world in the movie industry. And for him to do that, I know he's embarrassed, and he should be. It's because he could have been a man about it and handled it the right way. That was not the right way. That was something that kids do. Children resort to violence. Immature people resort to violence, not adults. So anyway, and so now, to my topic is about Jada, her being the woman. I felt she was very out of line, very out of place at the event surrounding that moment, because the event was for Will. She was just an invited guest. She was not being honored. Will was being honored at that event. And so it's just, imagine someone taking you somewhere to an event on your job. I've been invited to events where my husband has been honored on his job, and to, for something like that to happen, I just can't even imagine it. And so, but there have been times in my life where I have been on the other side with guys in the past I may have dated. I remember in particular some guy was just talking to me, and the guy he just came up and started really being rough with the guy, and like just cursing and everything. And if the guy wasn't behind a window protecting him, I believe he would have physically assaulted him. And that's embarrassing. And I'm like, I don't want to be around nobody like that. And this is times I wasn't a devout Christian. Just many years ago, over 20 years ago. And so it's like, no, in general, we don't want to be around people that are violent and that embarrass us in public like that. It's just too much. Sometimes if my husband get upset and we'll go, I remember one time we went to some store about a decade ago, and I was returning an item or something was broke or something. And I don't know if the customer service wasn't there. I can't remember all the details, but I just remember my husband getting kind of upset. And I remember telling him, I said, if you're going to start complaining, not violence, because my husband never been violent. He just ain't that person. But, you know, he was like trying to get all upset and start complaining and yelling in the store. And I told him, I said, if you do this, I'm leaving. I said, no, you're not going to do this. You're not going to embarrass me or yourself. I'm leaving if you do this. If you can't handle it without shouting and yelling, I'm out. And so, of course, he calmed down. And so that's just the way I am. That's the way I am in public, you know, with anyone, but especially my spouse that I have some type of control over. I know some people have no control over their mates. There's a lot of narcissist type people out there, or people that's not humble. And so, but my husband is very humble. I'm humble. And so I was just gently reminding him, no, we're not going to do this in public. You know, as a couple, we're not going to do this. And so as a Christian and a godly woman perspective, what was the best way that Jada would have handled it? Should have handled it. However, Jada, I just want to remind you, I've noticed watching some of her videos, I believe Jada is not a Christian. She practices Buddhism. And so I don't know all the beliefs of Buddhism. I'm not going to go into details about it, but I'm just saying it does seem like she's a Christian. I don't think she professed to being one. That's all I'm trying to say. So anyway, the Christian godly woman thing to do would have been what a lot of people have alluded to, is that when he went up there, when he got out his seat to walk up there, she should have gently grabbed his hand and said, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If it was me, I believe the right thing to say that I would have said, first of all, I wouldn't even got upset. And if I would have got upset, I would not have let my husband side. Why? Because that was his night. That wasn't my night. That was his night. And I remember winning awards for one of my magazines I used to publish about 20 years ago. My husband was there and he didn't embarrass me. And if he would have, I would have been upset because it was my night to shine. It was my night. That was Will Smith's night. He actually won an Oscar, and I believe he knew he was going to win. Everyone was telling him that you're most likely going to win. Even his co-workers, his peers in the movie industry. He was predicted to win. And so it's like he knew he was going to win, and then he still did that. It's like, wow, it's unfathomable. You know, it's perplexing. And so, but that was his night. That was not her night. And so she should have just sat there and just, you know, with a smile on her face. She didn't have to grin or laugh. She didn't even have to smile, but to send the message in any way, shape, or form that provoked your husband to get up and go do that, where he embarrassed himself all over the world. You know, us, we may embarrass our family or friends or spouses, but not all over the world. This man is embarrassed all over the world. And so many people have lost respect for him. A lot of people don't care. And I know this is mostly young people, but a lot of people, a lot of people feel sorry for him, have sympathy for him. And so do I, or empathy. But right is right and wrong is wrong. And there's ways to handle things. And we have to learn to control our temper in public. And for him to get that far in life, in his career, and to lose it like that, it's embarrassing. And he is embarrassing. He should be, and I'm very glad he apologized. I accept his apology. He said he apologized to the audience, and I accept his apology. I just hope he do better. I believe he's a great person, but his wife did not help. It kind of remind me of Abigail in the Bible. How many of you remember the story with King David when he ran into this rough guy named Nabal? And King David was about to kill him because he was disrespecting King David. And so I can't remember all the details. I'll try to put some of it up on the screen. And so anyway, he was about to get killed by King David, and justly so. And so he had a wife named Abigail. She secretly went to Nabal and calmed him down and tried to share some wisdom with him so he wouldn't be killed. I think she had gave off the top of my head, if I could remember, I think she went and gave some food and everything. I think David then was asking for some food or rations because they were out in the middle of the desert. I think it was during a war or something, and he refused, and he was very rude to King David, and so he almost got killed. But she was a wise woman. Proverbs 14:1 says a wise woman builds her house. And that's what she did. Jada did not build, quote unquote, build her house in that moment. So if what they're saying on the internet is correct, Will Smith has just lost millions and millions of dollars in making movies. Yeah, he already has $1 million of dollars, but just like all of us, a lot of times we spend money we haven't yet received that we plan on getting. And so he's going to lose. He has lost, if it's correct, millions, probably upwards to $50 million because of that one incident that wasn't even worth the whole situation. And I know some people are saying, well, she has alopecia, she lost her hair and all this stuff. And I understand. I understand as women, we love our hair. The Bible says our hair is our crown. So I get it. I understand hair. We love having hair, but hair isn't everything, and we have to mature and grow, and we need to keep this in mind. Will Smith and Jada are in their 50s. They're not teenagers, but the way he behaved and she behaved was like teenagers. They're in their 50s. I know they're not faithful Christians, but they're in their 50s. Well, I don't know what they do with their life, but from what I've seen, what they put out there for the world to see, they ain't no kids. And so to behave like this, it's just embarrassing for everybody, including the Black community. It's embarrassing because, even though the world shouldn't judge us as a group, the matter of the fact is they do. They judge us unjustly. They portray us unjustly in the media, and they judge us unjustly as a group, and it's not fair. No group should be judged. No people should be judged wholly as a group like that. Because there's good and bad people of every race, every culture, every nation. There's good and bad. And so to just lump everybody together, it's not right. It's not Bible. So they're not little kids, and they're acting like this, and so it was Will Smith night. And so the right thing for a Christian godly woman to do is to just grin and bear it, pretend it was okay, say something later, or behind the scenes. Her and Will could approach Chris Rock and say, we didn't like that. If that was insensitive, you hurt my wife's feelings. She has alopecia, blah, 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 blah. Because I think they said Chris Rock had no idea. Excuse me, that he had no idea what was going on with her health. And so there were some other comments and stuff made, but time permitting, I'm not going to go into all the details. And so that was the right thing to do. It was his night to shine, not hers. And unfortunately, she didn't have no foresight to see, okay, what are going to be the consequences of this? It's really sad that they could not foresee and say, wait a minute. If this goes too far, my husband get up, and do all this, what's going to happen tomorrow? What could happen tonight? Because the police were called in. They were already there, but they were called in to approach Chris Rock. The police, so they got the police involved at a big event like this. They got with Denzel Washington and his wife there. They got the police called in. Wow, how embarrassing can you get to have the police when you got to call the police? Things could get really, really being out of shape once the police come. And so we always want to keep our house under wraps where we'll never want to get in a situation where someone has to pick up the phone and call 911. If we're ever arguing with our spouse or friends or whatever, family members, and we have to call 911, sometimes you have to call 911. It all depends. We have to use discretion, but I'm saying we want to do our best to where we don't have to do that. Because I remember my son was growing up, he was bullied really bad in middle school. And because of that, he just started acting crazy. At the time, I wasn't a devout Christian. I think I could have done a better job as a mother. And my husband could have did a better job because our marriage was on the rocks. And so that carries over to how you're raising your children, in general. I'm speaking in general. And so sometimes you have to call the cops. And so I remember calling the cops, but where I lived, I knew the police. I didn't know them personally, but I knew them. I had experience with them. I knew they were good people. And so I knew they were going to do the right thing when they came to my house, and they did every time. The only thing they didn't do, because I wanted them to handcuff my son and just put him in a cop car to scare him. If you ever saw the TV show Scared Straight, that's kind of what I wanted them to do, just so he could calm down, not just for that moment, but he had just been acting just really for like the whole time in middle school, all the way up to like the 9th or 10th grade. So for like 4 or 5 years, he was just really being a delinquent, what they call him, juvenile delinquent. And it was hard for me to get him to calm down. But I know a lot of it was because he had been being bullied. And we really did literally got him counseling and therapy, but he wouldn't let the people help. And so all we could do was turn it over to the Lord. But I was just hoping, that's the only time I called 911. It was more than once, but I knew the cops, nothing bad ever happened. And they were very helpful, very helpful. And so my son is doing a lot better now, praise the Lord. But so anyway, just my point is, like, if you have to call the cops, it's like, it's like the last, it's the last resort, So anyway, yeah, that's what a godly Christian woman would have done. And she would have pretended it was okay for a moment. It was just a moment. It was one night and no one was physically harmed. And I would have pretended, I would have kept a smile on my face, at least let him not see whatever provoked him to get up. And if he did get up, I would have darted right after him. Jada Pinkett is in excellent shape, and she could have just grabbed his hand and said, "No, husband, no, not right now. We'll deal with it later." That would have been a bigger woman. That would have been a woman building her house, not tearing it down with her own hands. And so, yeah, with the hair thing, I know women lose hair, have hair problems. I have hair problems with my hair, especially women of color. And so she could have wore a wig that night to the Oscars. She looked beautiful, first of all. She looked beautiful, but she could have wore a wig, a scarf, anything where she wouldn't have drew attention to herself, because you're going to draw attention to yourself when you're beautiful like her and to wear your hair like that. And I really saw it as a compliment. Compared to the movie, because that was a blockbuster movie that he referred to, and he really didn't even say anything about her hair. He just said that G.I. Jane 2, he's looking forward to it. He didn't even mention her hair. And so, like I said, there's a lot of controversy about all of this, but I'm just trying to talk from a Christian, godly woman perspective. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus want us to do? And so that's all I'm saying. I wanted to get my little tiny 2 cents in for whatever it's worth. Since I have a women's ministry, I just want to get that in, put that out there for a lot of women don't know what to do in that situation. Because there was a time I would have been rooting for Will. And I would say, well, that's what she get. I mean, that's what he get, or something like that, And so I had my days of being raunchy. Okay, I'm a saint now, but I haven't always been a saint. The Bible called Christians saints. A lot of people don't like being called saint, but that's what we are. When we are devoted to Jesus and following him and walking in the Spirit on a regular basis, we're saints. And so, but there was a time I was raunchy. There was days I was rough, I was raunchy. I probably would have slapped him myself. And so I'm just saying, but thank God I'm a new person. God still has work on me to do, but he has brought me far. And I'm sure a lot of us can say the same thing. Okay, ladies, so that's all I want to share with you. That's how we should behave. The way I just shared with you when we're in situations or positions like that. That's how we should behave. We always want to quell the situation, bring calm and peace for ourselves and our loved ones. Jesus calls us to peace. God calls us to be peacemakers. Will Smith broke the peace that night. He disturbed the peace. They said that he ruined the night for everybody there. He ruined the night, I guess, except for him and Jada. And he ruined it for himself, overall. And so it's just really messed up. And so, but that's the way you're supposed to handle it. And that's why I'm talking about, I hope I am creating a teachable moment. If you think so, please comment, please like and comment. And okay, ladies, so that's all I want to say. If anything that I left out, I'll write it down below. But yeah, so that's what we want to do. We want to do what's right. And we always want to stay calm. The Bible calls us to be temperate and to have self-control. And one of the fruit of the spirits is self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And so that's what God wants us. That's what he wants us to behave and live our lives. And we will if we're Christians. If we're following Jesus and we're following the things he tells us to do in the New Testament, that's the type of life that we will live. Okay, ladies, so I'm going to be trying to be bringing more topics to you about this. I'm probably going to be doing it in podcast or audio style for a little bit, and then I'll go to video. And so please keep listening. Come back. If there's anything you want me to discuss, let me know. And so that's what I want to start doing. I want to start uploading just things about what's going on and how we're Christian women, how us as Christian women will have it, should handle it from the Bible. Okay, ladies. So thank you for listening. I hope this has been a blessing to some of you. And so let's pray for them, Will and Jada. Let's pray for them. Like I said, I'm not judging. This is a teachable moment, and that's what we're supposed to do as Christians, create teachable moments for our family, for our children, for the church community. Okay, ladies? And so that's what I want to do. And just like I said, I hope it's been a blessing to you. May God, our Holy Father in heaven, continue to bless you so that you may always be a blessing wherever you go. Chat with you later. Bye-bye.